Ladies, gentlemen, and friends beyond the binary, welcome to the Monday Discourse for today, May 24th, 2021. My hair is an absolute disaster. I am your host, Tristan. I have a few things to get through, and then we will get to the meat of the show. Well, I'm really turning into Giorgio Tsoukalos. Okay, I stream 2 days a week on Mondays and Tuesdays. What you're watching right now is the Monday Discourse, which goes from noon until 2 on Mondays with Mia Mulder. And it is a show where Mia Mulder shows up. She'll be showing up once I get all through all this stuff. It's been a week since I streamed, and I've forgotten how to talk, it seems. All right. And Tuesday nights from 7 to 9, I do Step Back Tonight, where I hang out, just me. I go by he, him pronouns. You can find my work at stepbackhistory.com or tristanwon'tshutup.com. If you are interested, I got some new things for you, specifically people in the streaming audience. I now have a Stream Clips channel for these streams. So if you're interested in seeing some highlights from videos that I've been doing, you can check out it's called Step Back Clips. Let me go get a link for you. But Step Back Clips is a channel that I am doing where I post shorts or interesting parts of videos that I've come across. Wow, I'm that good at labeling things, I guess. Okay. I can find this. I can do all this. I'll find it for you. Yeah, all right. Some of you already found it. It has 41 subscribers. So here's a link to the Step Back Clips channel. It's pretty good. Okay. Next up, we've got if you want to support my work, you can go to patreon.com/stepbackhistory to help make videos happen and me afford bills and things like that. You can support for as little as 84 cents a month with a yearly pledge, and you get things like ad-free videos that are released early with no sponsor break or anything like that. So if that's the thing you want, patreon.com/stepbackhistory. Good times. If you have Amazon Prime but you don't want to become a patron, which makes sense, you can use your Twitch Prime subscription every month to help Step Back thrive. Which is a free thing you get every month that's just baked into your Amazon Prime subscription. So you get one free Twitch Prime subscription per month if you use Step Back for it. I get a little bit of a kickback at no extra cost to you. If anything, if you don't use it, Amazon just gets to keep your money. Hey, Terry M. Roberts, thank you so much for the Tier 1 subscription. Thank you. Yeah, so it's at no extra cost to you, and you're kind of losing money if you don't. If you don't help me, help some independent creator, because we need it. We need these things. People work really hard to make streams and survive off of them. All right. And as far as stuff to check out, my latest video is on how capitalism makes you lonely. It's been out for a few weeks now, though, so it's probably not like... If you haven't seen it, you should check it out, but I'm sure a lot of you have already seen it. And second, I have a video I'm working on right now that I'm hoping at the latest will be released on Monday next week. So we'll see. We'll see where it is. It's in a kind of funky spot right now. Yeah, that's everything. If you want to submit questions for future streams, I'm going to put a link in the chat to a Google form where you can submit things for future stream questions. And lastly, before we get started, I also want, if this is your first time watching a stream, please make yourself known in the chat, because I haven't, what's it called? Because we have a great and supportive community here, and I would love for you to join in with them. So, if this is your first time watching a stream, say hello. All right. I think that's all the things. I don't know. My brain is not working the best right now, so let's see how well that turns out with let's get me on the horn. And hope everything. It's not even symmetrical. This side is literally poofier than this side. Oh my goodness, what a mess! What a mess I am. God, I wish this stay-at-home order would end so I can get a haircut. All right, calling Mia now.
Hey, Tristan.
Hello.
Hope you can hear me well. I can hear myself like 3 times because I have you up on 2 different streams as well. I need
Oh
to
no.
take it quickly.
You need more monitor.
I need more monitor. I need like 8 I have 2 monitors. I need like a third and a fourth. But hey, hello. How are you doing?
Good.
It is Monday, and we have finally some good news in this weird year.
Yeah. So much good news. Where do we even start? We walked through. There's like 3 major things to talk about this week, and all of them are good pieces of news.
Yeah.
I'm so unaccustomed to
What
that.
do you want to start with?
This isn't the. First of all, I think we should probably say who you are, so you could say hello.
That's probably good. I keep forgetting to do this. Hi, my name is Mulder. I'm a YouTuber who does content, and you can find my stuff on miamulder.com. It's good. They're good videos. They're good videos. If you like history, you're gonna love it. But there's also more than just history. It's all sorts of history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than
And I do that, and I'm Mia Mulder.
nice.
I tweet too much. That's also something that happens.
That is true. Mia makes Mia content. There you go. Good
That is-
description.
yes. It's really hard to like define 100% what it is I do. Like I say this every week I'm here that like I don't know how to introduce myself, and every time I come up with something new.
I
But-
work theoretically.
Theoretically, I have a job. I produce weird videos on the internet, and money appears in my bank account to pay rent. And
But it comes from.
it's one simple trick, and it's a grift, but it's working. So I'm not gonna mess with it.
What you don't know is that all comes from a Hungarian American currency trader.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to remember, what's that guy's name again? The like rich person that the right wing are like obsessively thinks are like funding every liberal, every left wing person.
George Soros.
Yeah, there you go.
Who pays all of us?
George
I
Soros, the
love,
founder
by
of
the way,
Nebula.
Yes, George Soros founded Nebula. Don't say. I love, by the way, how much of projection that is too. Because if you look at like right wing media, like you can very clearly just like look up their like donation history and just see that it's by like the Koch brothers and other sort of like billionaires, like actual like oil and gas billionaires for Prague EU and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all this projection. It's like, yes, there are billionaires funding like dark content on the internet, but it's not ours.
For real. Someone just pointed out that you can introduce yourself as Mia Mulder, the person who invented Dress Go Spinny.
This is true. I did invent that meme.
I learned that this
I
week.
have to remind you. I have to remind Twitter about it occasionally because they forget, and I have to remind them that I made it.
Oh man, that's a good. That one's gotten away from you.
Oh wait, it's for sure gotten away from me. It's
Reminds
like a significant part of like trans woman memes at this point.
It reminds me of how I played a lot of StarCraft 2 when it was in beta testing.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beta test for StarCraft 2 in the forums, I made a meme that got reasonably popular during the beta test. And then it came back maybe like a couple years after it launched and I wasn't playing the game anymore. And then I was like looking it up and I was like, oh shit, I remember when I made this. And then someone was like, you didn't make that. You have no proof. And I'm like, oh shit. And it was Yo Mama Ship jokes, if anyone wanted to know.
God bless. We should get in the habit of copywriting our jokes. Because the person who The person who made no, the person who made Trollface is apparently like a millionaire at this point because
Fun.
he copyrighted or trademarked or whatever one it is. Um, the Trollface, I don't think of that one. Um, and because it's been on like so much merchandise and video games and like media, they all have to pay royalties to like this one dude. Um, who makes significant amount of money from it. I probably shouldn't actually. I don't really believe in copyright law, but still.
Dress Go Spinny, trademark Mia Mulder Industries.
Yeah, exactly. If whenever you post a meme on Reddit, you have to pay me $2.
You're like, what's it called? You got like rulers. You're like, oh no, that dress is spinning a little bit. If you spin too much and it goes officially spinny, you owe me 17 cents.
Exactly, you can't do that.
Then you're gonna get the estate of Marilyn Monroe on your ass.
Oh no, the original dress goes spinning.
Yeah.
That is true. Marilyn Monroe probably has some sort of like unclaimed copyright on dress goes spinning. That's how copyright. No, because that's how copyright works, isn't it? You don't actually have to claim copyright anytime. As long as you make anything now, you actually have copyright over it.
Yeah, it's
You just have to
implied.
enforce it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So she probably has implied copyright.
You can
When did the
lose.
copyright
You
law
can
get into effect?
you can lose that implied copyright if you don't enforce it. Is the thing.
Yeah, and I haven't enforced it to shit, so I don't probably have a case. By the way, that's also why like big companies will sometimes shit on really small people for using their copyright, even though it seems completely fucking fine. Because if they don't enforce it, they lose it entirely. So, yeah. But I know that the Vlog Brothers, they have a bunch of stuff that they could have implied copyright over, but just never did, and they're fine. So, copyright is a scam made by Mickey Mouse to sell more mouse.
Yeah, I've never been sued for saying doobly-doo. Or
This is true.
the main thing, they probably could have copyrighted "Don't Forget to Be Awesome" or something like that, and that would have been a thing.
Yeah, I think that was the one that they probably could have copyrighted. Doobly Doo, I believe, is the creator of Wheezy Waiter, though, not the Vlog Brothers. I think they got carried over to Vlog Brothers because they were collabing for a while.
Listen, they're having a hard time. Their best friend is getting divorced, and it turns out he really liked Jeffrey Epstein. So they're having things are tough over in like really big educational YouTube land because all of them took money from the Gates Foundation to.
All right, I forgot. So like so we have like Vsauce, Veritaserum, Vlog Brothers, like all of the big names that are like the good wholesome gang are like suddenly weirdly connected with the Gates Foundation.
Yeah. They all.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all got paid money to talk about climate change and guinea worm, but then there's like, oh, what about vaccine patents? Can you believe? Okay, maybe you can believe because you know European politics better. Can you believe that the holdout is fucking Germany now?
Oh, I'm not surprised at all. Germany is like a biomedical and pharmaceutical like powerhouse, and they are not letting that go. Like they are solidified in that position, and they will. The sort of pharmaceutical and biomedical sort of lobbying groups in Germany are extraordinarily powerful.
Oof.
Like some of the biggest companies in the world are biomedical companies that are based in Germany currently. And if we're talking history, a big reason why Germany managed to cement that position is because for a significant amount of time they could use human experimentation.
Yay!
For a specific sliver of time. And then one of the Germanys afterwards just got to keep the research and all of the people. And it's not the left one.
Oh boy. Alex Shendy, thank you so much for the subscription. And yeah, Germany. It's weird that the Germany that was on the left-hand side was the right-wing one, and then the one that was on the left-hand side, or the right-hand side, was the left-wing one.
Right? This is where the political alignment scales have completely fucked us over, because they got it completely wrong. Mm-hmm. And then we have America, where the colors are also wrong as well. So America is like on a lot of maps. furthest to the left, but they're very like to the right. But their right wing are red.
It's true.
No, we need standardization here. That's
Maybe
what we need.
I think it would be honestly easier than changing geopolitics. We should just switch what the directions are. So, like, I don't know why we decided that. I know it has something to do with the French Revolution and stuff, but maybe we should just be like, you know what? French Revolution's over, and nobody likes France anyway. So, why don't we just switch it up? And now, left and right are swapped. So now we are far right activists on YouTube. And then people can finally say that they can finally say that the Nazis were left wing.
Damn it! No, that's what they planned all along. How about this one? Left is now up, and right wing forward.
Okay.
Backwards.
Perpendicular 90 degrees.
Yeah, exactly. Just like completely just separate axes. They don't nothing to do with each other. I like this new scale.
Yeah.
What the hell am I talking about? I have no clue.
I don't know. We got real off. Okay, so here are the 3 pieces of good news. One, this is the first stream where both of us have been injected with microchips.
Yes.
So since the last stream we did 2 weeks ago, both of us got chipped.
Mm-hmm. Got the vaccine?
Yeah.
Which one did you get? Did you get Pfizer?
I got Pfizer.
Yeah.
I mean, I can barely hear the beeping sounds anymore. It's pretty great.
Yeah, it goes away after a little bit. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm. You just gotta tune it out.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, this is what you guys don't know, is that if you get injected with Pfizer, have you ever been in like an apartment where the smoke alarm battery is starting to go and you just get that like tiny but really loud beep that you, after a little while, just sort of tune out of your brain? That's basically what the Pfizer chip does, and it's a little annoying at first, but you do get used to it. It's just a weird side effect of the.
It's because one of the people involved in designing the vaccine is actually Homer Simpson, who put in the "everything is okay" alarm. So as long as you hear the beeping, everything's fine.
Yeah.
If the beeping stops,
then you have COVID.
Then you have COVID.
Also, my phone, fastest connection I've ever had. Just streaming video all day. Unlimited data.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. I don't even need my phone at this point. Like, I can just like think about something and I just know it.
You can just think of a tweet and it comes out. Man, that's a deadly thing to put into the universe.
Oh God. Would explain a lot of my tweets recently though.
So overall, I would say the vaccination effort's going really well. Another interesting thing is that because of America slowing down its vaccination rate and Canada speeding up its vaccination rate and us having a way lower hesitancy rate, Canada's on track to this week have a higher percentage of its population having the first shot compared to the United States.
Nice.
Not second shot, because we're really fucking around on that one. Health Canada, against the directives of the vaccine manufacturers, are making us wait 4 months between first and second shot. So I get my second Pfizer in September.
Oh, Jesus.
So that means that September 20th is the day where is the latest date where I can be 100% vaccinated. But the other thing, too, is that now there's articles coming up that are like, well, we might be trying to buy some excess from the Americans because they've got tons and the storage rules have just been changed. So it's a bit, they don't expire as fast anymore. I guess the rules about when they're expired have changed a bit. And
yeah, I think they found out that you can store them like slightly more lax than they previously thought.
Yeah.
And it's still okay.
And on top of that, also, Canada's doing experiments with mix and match vaccines. Because what happened was we AstraZeneca'd a whole bunch of people before then saying we shouldn't do AstraZeneca anymore. So now we have AstraZeneca just for people who have already gotten it for their second shot. And on top of that, like trying to figure out if like, hey, if we give you a shot of a different vaccine, does it still work? So that's a
I've
thing.
seen some studies that say that apparently that should be okay.
I
Like
mean,
it's not. I don't think it's like it's not designed for it, but I know that you can. I read somewhere that you can use Pfizer and Moderna like interchangeably,
yeah, because if
which
I
is
remember correctly, they're basically the same thing.
yeah, they're both mRNA vaccines as far as I remember.
So, so that all happened. And there's also articles. Basically, Canadians are just like absolutely just strung out on hopium right now. Every article is like, can we mix and match vaccines? What's it called? There was a, can we mix and match? Can we, there's so much supply that there's rumor that we might be able to up the date that we can actually get our second doses. Isn't that cool? And then there was this brief moment, I shit you not. There's this brief moment where the Prime Minister recommended anybody who could to travel to the United States to go get their vaccines there. To just like go on like a trip across the border to go get vaccinated. And the exact same day, yeah, and the exact same day, the border agent said, "That's not a because our borders are closed still." That they were like, "No, that's not a valid reason to cross the border. You can't just come into America to get vaccines." And it was based on a story that there's this collaboration between, I want to say it's either Saskatchewan or Manitoba, and it's either North Dakota or Montana. I want to say it's North Dakota and Manitoba have made a agreement to vaccinate Canadian truckers because they have their borders selectively open just for truckers. So a bunch of Canadian truckers are going to America and getting vaccinated.
Mm.
So,
well, if it works, it works.
Yeah. So all of that, just like every article about COVID right now, is just us trying to imagine more and more elaborate situations where we're not well behind the rest of the developed world when it comes to vaccinating our people. But then we got Europe, and Europe's I don't know if vaccines are even still legal there. I think they banned every single one of them because like somebody got a Pfizer and then walked out and then tripped and broke their nose, and they're like, well, Pfizer's now banned in the European Union.
I think it's going okay here, and I haven't really heard much of anything. I know that like no one in my age group still has the vaccine. I literally have no idea why I got it. I'm not supposed to have it yet. I'm supposed to get mine in like 2 or 3 months. So it seems to be a bit of confusion about like how the rollout is going. But from what I hear, it's going okay. The government isn't telling us anything because every time they tell us something, they have to then change it when like new information comes in from the EU. And because they don't want people to hate the government and like distrust them that much, they've just decided to be like, okay, we're just not going to say anything and vaccinate people as we go.
You should listen to Doug Ford. You should be listening to Doug Ford. What you have to do is you have to have an announcement every other week that contradicts the one that you said before.
Wait, what did you say?
You have to learn what Doug Ford did, which is to release a statement every other week and basically contradict everything you said the previous week about what you're going to be doing.
Yeah, that's basically what the Swedish government did like all of last year, and it just made people just distrust the government more and more, so they've learned to shut the fuck up.
Good.
At least for now. I have no idea how it's going to go, like, around the end of this.
Mm-hmm.
If there is an end to this, we're halfway through 2021 already, and I remember sometime in like January, people were like, "It's the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
We're getting there. We're almost there." And now it's like we're still like at the worst the pandemic's ever been, just generally because of like mass spread in India and things like that. And isn't it also coming out that like every single country is basically undercounting the amount of dead from COVID because of like edge cases where people have had like pre-existing conditions and other like health issues going on at the time. Because I remember like Mexico like a month ago or two like doubled their entire death counts.
Yeah.
Because of like they had to like fix the things of this pandemic is still going on. It's never gonna be over despite being vaccinated.
Yeah, and now it's hitting poorer countries that don't have the resources to do the same kinds of measures, and it's causing like the shit coming out of India is absolutely horrifying. And I was learning through a interview I was doing for a secret project that Egypt's actually having a similarly bad situation as well. So things are going pretty bad. While here, yeah, we're just like, I mean, we probably should be sharing these, but if you're gonna offer it, I guess I'll take the thing. Yay!
Yeah, it's kind of my attitude as well. Like, I'm not gonna say no. Like, a vaccine doesn't care about where it's going. Wherever a vaccine is going, it's a good thing,
Yeah,
right? That's how I reason about it. Like, as long as someone gets vaccinated, I'm happy. That's how it be.
hey, SW, thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated. No text, but thank you.
Is that a goose as an image? That's amazing.
Perfect. Aesthetic.
That makes
There's also some talks about, well, first of all, it does mean it sounds like as a Swede who only has about 3 weeks of summer per year, you're going to miss out on what's being called hot girl summer. But
Oh, no, I'm not, because I'm vaccinated.
all right.
I'm the only person in Sweden who can participate in Hot Girl Summer. It's gonna be me and Aunt Gertrude and all of the other
You're going to be
all the other hot girls at the retirement home.
yeah, you're going to be the hottest person at Bridge. At Bridge Club.
The gals at knitting they're gonna flip.
Crochet queen. Someone did ask about your hair routine again.
Literally just came out of the shower. I haven't brushed it. Like, I recently had it cut a little bit. I use a pretty good conditioner. I don't wash my hair every single day. I don't shampoo my hair every time I shower because you don't want it to dry out that much.
Kind of rich that nobody asked me what my hair routine is.
Your hair is popping today, by the way. Can I say?
I mean,
it's like,
in the very literal sense of that word, yes. It refuses to be contained by gravity or logic or Euclidean physics or anything.
you'd love to see it. Good hair day for this stream today.
Yeah, I'm in the transition phase from Giorgio Tsoukalos from Ancient Aliens, and I'm turning into a Centauri, I think, by the end of this. There's a real deep cut for you guys.
Even I don't get that.
Babylon 5, the Centauri were the ones that had like the big frill of hair.
I need to get into Battle. What's it called again?
Babylon 5.
Babylon 5. That's the name of it. I watched one episode and I liked it, and then I haven't had.
It is fun. The only thing that's distracting, and they could fix it with a Blu-ray release, is that all of its there's some shows in the 90s that did CG a little too early. And so when they cut to the computer graphics, you're like, oh my god. They cut from like live action to like 90s video game.
Ooh.
Yeah, they did that a little bit, but that's okay.
That's okay.
All the Star Treks in the 90s look good because they used models. Like,
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
they stopped using models in probably the last 2 seasons of Voyager, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. That tracks.
I think that's why they made the Delta Flyer. They were like, well, now we need to show off that we can do computer graphics. Let's have more shuttle stuff. We'll have a new shuttle, and this time we'll show the outside, and it's not just a opener for a crash scene, which is all other Star Trek shuttles.
Yeah, now they finally had like a dogfight in Star Trek.
They had
that
the racing
everyone wants to
episode.
have in Star Trek. That was a good episode.
Yeah, it's the one where they proposed. It's one where Tom Paris proposed. It was pretty good.
The fact that we got to see the episode where they propose and don't get married, we never get to see them get married.
You do get to see them get married, but they propose and get married in the same episode. But you do get to see a marriage, but then it turns out that they were all gray goo monsters from the Hell planet that were all just clones of the Voyager crew, and then they all melt and die. So,
Weird.
Star Trek, guys.
Okay. You want to go on to the second of three good news?
Yeah, so
take half of this episode.
That's fine. So there was a truce signed in, well, not signed, but basically there's a ceasefire agreement between Israel and Gaza, and they're meeting in Egypt right now to have talks.
Yeah. And despite things not being perfect still, talks are better than bombs.
It is. I did hear stuff like how the IDF threw cans of tear gas at people celebrating the ceasefire, so it seems like how good the ceasefire is...
They did at the same mosque again. The exact same mosque.
Yeah.
Like the optics.
So that's a thing that's going on. That's not the funnest thing in the world.
No, but it's better than what happened like slightly before. Like it's
Yeah.
it could be worse, and it is an improvement, even though things are unlikely to change. What I did find interesting, though, that like I do appreciate that like there does seem to be a bit more of international sort of recognition over how fucked up Israel behaves in terms of its like policing and sort of military occupation.
Yeah. Continue.
No, you go.
Well, it's just like there was a bunch of stuff that I like as somebody who's been a leftist ever since my mom drank the water of life when I was in the womb, and I awokened too early.
Okay, Aaliyah. Okay, sure. That's a deep cut.
Yeah, I know.
The only reason I got that is because I'm literally writing about Dune in my upcoming video. That's the only reason I got that. Holy shit! What I can do.
That's like that's the magic of my ADHD brain is I can remember insanely specific details from like a book I read like 6 years ago or something. But I got into politics way too early. Like I was like 13 or something like that when I first started getting into stuff about politics. So, anyways, this is not the first time I've seen Israel being naughty, and a lot of people have only really become political since about 2015, 2016, that area. And so for a lot of people, especially American, the just sweet, tiny newborn that is the American left, it is their first time for a lot of them seeing this kind of stuff go down. And they're like, holy shit, this is fucked up, because they figured out what the news was like 5 years ago. So this is a new thing. This is a big thing. And so, yeah, I feel like they have really turned a corner. There you go.
Which is hopefully gonna like lead to some sort of consequence, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think for America took one of the like least pro-Israel stances that they've ever taken. They took their foot off the gas a little bit more than they usually do.
Yeah, that is true.
That's the most that you can get into. I don't know. I'm sure in Europe it was still just absolutely egregious. Europe's got less good politics on that these days, but maybe they've...
Europe is very weird in that sense, because like here in Sweden, I feel like Swedes are like surprisingly like pro-Palestine, but at the same time we have like Spain, who just hates brown people in their in their mainstream politics. So I think it varies significantly.
Makes sense. Yeah, can't wait until next year when maybe 2023, when Germany is going to be led by someone who's not Angela Merkel. That'll be fun. And then
That'll be
also probably President Le Pen. Seems like that's going to happen. European Union's going to be real fun then.
Emperor. Wait, is Le Pen really that popular? What is Le Pen's
She
polling
got to
numbers?
the what's it called? Everybody rallied around Emmanuel Macron because he and Le Pen were the only ones who got to the second round of the last French election. So
A lot of people are disapproving of Macron. Oh my God, Le Pen really is in the lead over Macron. Holy shit!
the good
My
times
God,
are coming.
I had no idea. Even like the other they're ahead by by double digits too. Like Macron and Le Pen are both at like 25%, and then we have the other two people. The third runner up is like on 14% of the polls. Holy shit! Well, France is doomed. That's good to know.
Yeah, well, we've all known this for a long time.
Well, it's been on that trajectory since like 1822.
Yeah, well, this is interesting. Like, you know how millennials are getting into like nostalgia culture and they want to bring everything back. So, if anything, this is just this is the reboot of Vichy France. So, it'll be, yeah, it's gonna be fun. What other? Oh, yeah, okay. So
then of course the biggest news of the
yes,
of the last decade.
I should say to everybody, Happy Victoria Day for all of my friends in Canada, the UK, and Australia, New Zealand. But the biggest news is that the video game of the century has been announced, where we're going to get a Victoria 3 coming out sometime before the heat death of the universe, which is good.
Which is good. I cannot tell you how excited I am. I tried to contain myself as much as I could on Twitter when it was announced, and even then, like I had a hard time containing myself.
Yeah, when I was reading how it worked and what their plan is, like their design philosophy for it, I was like, Mia's going to be astrally projecting reading this stuff, because it's like, no, it's about how different classes in society are going to interact with people and economics and. It's like, yeah, like Marxism might rise if your working class becomes too educated, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah. And they're finally simulating people who aren't like adult working class people, like men. Like they're finally like simulating like children and women. This shit is everything that I'm going to be talking about once it comes out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to rebrand my entire thing once Victoria 3 releases. I'm going to stream 23 hours a day, just Victoria 3 constantly, forever. Like, it's never going to end.
Yeah. So there are some things I'm looking forward to seeing in Victoria that I want to see how it plays out. First of all, okay, so like the big thing is, yeah, they're going to be representing all different classes of the population, and they're going to represent different interest groups, and sort of which ones you bring in or leave out will lead to different types of political turmoil. So like if you go to anti-workers' rights, you're probably going to end up with like leftists and disaffected like revolutionaries. If you go to like massaging and maneuvering your way through that is a big deal. The big one that I've been waiting for them to do for ages, which is that they're going to have this emphasis where it's like you can play through an entire campaign without going to war, and you'll have a good time. And I'm like, finally!
At last. They've never been able to do this. They tried to make Stellaris into it, which is why I'm really excited, because the former game director for Stellaris is the person who's leading Victoria. Which I think is great, because apparently he was accused of trying to recreate Victoria in Stellaris.
Oh boy.
With like factions and population classes and work pops and shit of that nature. But now we're fine.
We're getting there.
We're gonna.
Now, I know that you'll have a lot more to say when they get to the part where they do the dev diary on the economics part, like the resource management part, because that'll be a big deal, where you'll realize, I love that they're explicitly saying, like, it's, first of all, so much Marxist analysis in this game, because it's just like talking about how, like, your ability to access luxury clothes is going to decide the political future of your country. And like, I'm just imagining a German man with a big beard going like, yes, finally, they're understanding the truth.
At last, they see the material conditions of the cloth of Italy.
Well, they're like, basically like, the entire game seems like it's focused on political economy. Like that's its thing.
Yeah.
Here's my specific.
I love it. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, my specific wants from my Victoria 2 experience to see if they can improve this. There's a couple things. One, I want to see if they can incentivize the sort of not decolonization that happened before the World Wars, like the creation, like the British creating dominions and stuff like that. Like in Victorian age, that's when the British decided to like cut off, like to turn Canada into a semi-independent state, and they made Australia and New Zealand. So I'd be interested to see if they simulate that in any capacity.
They might. I know that they're changing how colonialism works, so that the world isn't just empty until Europe comes in and sets up a flag. Now there are actually people living everywhere.
Yeah, having like an actual like gameplay incentive for like letting go of territory is never a thing they've been good at, so I'd love to see what they do with that. Yeah. The second is if they're going to simulate at all in any actual functioning capacity the American government. Because in Victoria 2, the American government is a representation is proportional representation. Where the conservative party, called the Democrats, never ever lose power ever under any circumstances. Then
they can.
Yeah. And then in the expansion they made specifically for America, all they do is have a series of hard-coded issues to deal with slavery until it boils over into a civil war that is just hard-coded at the in-universe date of the beginning of the Civil War. So
yeah, you can't get around that.
Yeah, so I would love if the Civil War was a thing that, one, you could avoid, or two, had some sort of like dynamic, like based on the crises system for doing that. And it sounds like they're going to have like a lot of effort put into like revolutionary and independence movements and stuff like that. So they'll probably have the mechanics to do it. But second,
the fact that you can, because I remember them saying somewhere that you can, in a case of rebellion, you can side with the rebels.
Yeah, and that was me.
Changes everything.
That was me going like, maybe this is just that was me saying, oh yeah, this is so that you can choose which side of the Civil War you end up on.
But also that means you can pick a side in any civil war.
Yeah,
you can do anything.
Which makes me wish that, hopefully, think that there'll be a bookmark where you can play as the Paris Commune and try to survive with just like one province.
Oh, that would be fun. I mean, someone's going to mod that in for sure. I know people have been modding it into Vanilla Victoria, but it doesn't really work that well in that game. The thing that I'm very excited about, though, is that they're changing how population works. Because in the sorry that we're talking about a video game forever, but that's what's going to happen. In Victoria 2, like a person just has like a culture and a religion, and the second they move to America, they all become Protestant Christians, and that's it, like instantly. Now they're giving people like heritage traits and linguistic traits, so that in America, white British people won't be discriminated against the same way as like every other person. Like they will be slightly like less political power than like white Americans. But like black Americans will have significantly less power than, for example, like a white Frenchman, for example. And Frenchmen are slightly different than the British because they have different languages, like different linguistic groups.
And that's not only useful to simulate like the sort of caste system in America and like racism and ethnic, but also like what this is going to be used for is another thing that wasn't greatly done in Victoria that Victoria 3 will cover, and it'll be amazing, hopefully, is that they're going to cover mass immigration, because the 19th century was just when everybody was moving everywhere. And so immigration patterns, like what drives people to move, like imagine like if like the Civil War goes really bad and America gets fucked up, maybe you don't end up with like massive European migration into America. So
Yeah.
the Midwest looks completely different, but also Europe looks really different. And so like I feel like all of those things could, I don't know, there's a lot you could do. There's so
Yeah, for
much
sure.
that could go with.
Because in the second game, the only thing that happens is that everyone just moves to America and Brazil, and that's it. Half of Europe just moves up and leaves to America, and that's the only thing that does with immigration. And this is gonna change everything. I'm going to. I am so fucking excited. I've never been this hyped for a video game since StarCraft 2 when I was a child.
Yeah. Well, okay. I just felt old there. For me, it was StarCraft 1 when I was a child. So the other thing, too, that's another hopeful thing that I hope to see. I don't know if it'll be a thing, but it feels like the best chassis we're going to get to make a Cold War total conversion mod.
Oh yeah, for sure.
This, if you think about the Victorian age in this sense, it's not dissimilar from the Cold War, and especially with that new crisis system that they're working on to sort of replace what I think in Victoria 2 by the end is just like the 6 or 7 or 8 World War Ones that happen near the end of the game every time now. You get if you don't have at least 6 World War Ones by the end of your Victoria 2 campaign.
Yeah, the Fifth Great War. It's gonna be great.
So, but like the thing is, if you do a Cold War kind of conversion mod, you could do like those crises, and it's like, yeah, but if the crisis fails, all life on Earth is eradicated.
If this leads to war, it's just over. But how about this though? A bit out of left field as well, because like they're talking about different political ideologies this time. First of all, communism is not going to just be the government that does stuff, which is in Victoria 2, because that's what communism is in Victoria 2. Not only does communism actually do communism, but you can also do anarchism.
Yeah.
Proper anarchism in Victoria.
I think I'm learning very quickly that
Council republics.
You can tell that Paradox has gone from being a liberal organization to a more socialist organization. At least the designers, like you can tell that they're reading theory as time moves on, because like their early ones are just all like, the more liberal it is, the more better it is, right? And then also, but then like in the middle they were like, yeah, but what if we simulated fascism and then we made that have positive side effects? And then they were like, wait, all these gaming sites are writing articles about how we're embracing fascism and we made a video game that might have actually
just love our games.
Yeah. It's weird how we made a video game that's one of the games responsible for like the culture of the alt-right, and then it's like, oh, nope. Now we're gonna go a hard pass, and now like because I was like Crusader Kings 2 is part of like the people are talking about like games that are really popular with the alt-right, and so they're like, all right, Crusader Kings 3 is now the gayest Crusader Kings there is, with a bunch
of
be
asexual. Fuck you, racists.
Yeah. So like that was great. And then also they just got rid of a lot of their very European concepts, like you live here, you live in this country, so therefore everybody is 25% dumber just because you live in the brown country. And I was like, okay. Yeah. Like, didn't Victoria have like a whole thing where like people were called uncivilized and civilized stuff? And it's like, ooh.
So in Victoria 2, there are primitive nations, there are uncivilized nations, there are partially westernized nations, civilized nations, secondary powers, and great powers. These are the type of countries that there are.
That's gonna be a big oof from me. Yeah.
Yeah. I love invading a primitive country with my superior great power guns.
Now
that's how the games is, and now they're going to have unrecognized countries, which that's interesting. Unrecognized and unorganized.
Yeah.
Which is a bit more respectful, I feel like.
I would be very interested to see if they, because they're gonna have to have something baked into like the imperial racism that led to like being like European countries feeling like they could just fuck around with like many nations around the world. But if they like claimed 12 inches in the Ruhr region, a world war would break out over it, you know? Like,
Yeah.
so that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
And so I know all the playthroughs I'm going to do. I know that I'm going to try and make a black separatist state in America. I know that I'm going to try to break off Canada and then break off Quebec and have a Quebec becomes great power playthrough again. And then also old sick man of Europe pulls out a knife and starts stabbing people.
Oh, that's my favorite as well.
Yeah.
That and I don't know. The first thing I'm gonna do is just Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia is always fun. Like it's a good Yugoslavia and Poland, Lithuania. Poland doesn't exist at the start of this game, but it can if you play your cards right.
And then maybe Long Chili, just for fun.
Awesome.
Once you get to
we should play this together when it comes out.
Yes.
For sure. Like Crusader Kings 3 didn't really hold my attention that long, but this is gonna. I feel like this is gonna hit.
They did announce too that Crusader Kings 3 is adding a whole thing where you get to decorate a throne room, and hear petitions from your throne, which sounds pretty badass.
Yeah, that's pretty fun. It seems like Crusader Kings 3 it's a good game.
I need to I need to go back to Crusader Kings 3. It was a really good game that I feel like I just need to put the hours in to really have fun with.
Yeah.
And then apparently they're also just doing an update to Hearts of Iron 4 that, as far as I can tell, it's like, this is the first time since launch we decided to put attention to this small belligerent in the war called the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
It's like, we forgot about these little guys. We were too busy making sure that you could simulate Albanian politics or something.
No, Portugal got an update before the Soviet Union did. Portugal's not even in the war. That's just how it is. Italy still hasn't gotten anything. Italy is never going to get anything.
We already expressed why, because they invented fascism, which I guess in a World War II game, it should be a thing that you pay attention to, but also you don't deserve it. There's a video out about Italy and Italians, and our statement on this is now well known and on the record, and it is on TikTok. So,
God bless.
Yeah. So that's good news week, despite not being able to go outside. Good news week. So, anything else going on? We got our reopening plan this week as well.
We haven't. Oh God, I think we may have got a reopening plan here, but I really don't.
You guys closed?
I'm not super sure.
I didn't know.
That's what I mean. Like we never closed. We just like restricted the amount of people who can be in stores like a little bit, and that's literally it.
We're under a stay-at-home order until the 2nd, but now we're having this like, because like in the past, he was like, the way that it worked was like, we're gonna reopen different parts of the provinces, like different regions at different times, based on how they're performing in different places. And it got real bad when people realized that like the people who are in the lockdown places like Toronto were just driving out to the suburbs to like go shopping and stuff like that and spreading COVID to new cities. So it's like maybe your region-based thing isn't going to work because, yeah, people in Toronto were just driving to Oakville to go Christmas shopping. And then he didn't put a stay-at-home order in until Boxing Day, literally the day after Christmas. Which is just like, okay, thanks, bud. It's like putting on a condom after sex, thanks.
That's one hell of an analogy, and I love it.
Yeah. So there's that. Next, so now they're doing like a 3-phase approach that's going to be based on what percentage of the population is vaccinated and what percentage of people are in the ICU and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're doing like one stage at a time. I don't get how Canada mishandled Corvid so bad. First of all, I know that's a typo, but also I love the idea of a pandemic of corvids. We're just being attacked by ravens and crows and blue jays.
And everyone's just like ignoring it. It's not that bad. Don't worry about it. It's just normal birds. Comes every year.
Yeah.
We can't lock down society just because of some birds. And meanwhile, birds are attacking everywhere.
Yeah.
The incessant noise.
There's a great TikTok I watched that was about like it was like a zombie plague, and about someone who's like, well, I'm gonna go to the store. You're like, you can't go outside. There's zombies. You're like, come on. Do you really think that like? Are you going to let the government just tell you when you can't go outside just because there's zombies? It's like...
To be fair, I feel like if someone told me that there's a zombie apocalypse, I probably wouldn't believe them.
Yeah.
Like, I would also probably be like, no, there's no zombies, and then go outside and be a zombie.
I mean, who wants to be on the losing side?
That. I mean, I do say that, but at the same time, I am paranoid enough that if someone does say that there are zombies outside, I am going to look out the window before I go out.
There's a surprisingly high amount of people who, like, actually think that there's going to be a zombie apocalypse. It's weird. It's a weird thing that we've, like, a complete media creation is going to... So, yeah. So we're going to reopen... we reopened outdoor stuff already. But then, like... on June 12th, maybe, when like 60% of the population is first shot vaccinated, then we're going to like send people, like we're going to open up some things with restrictions, and then it's like, this is phases. And it's like, okay, this is much better than we had before. But also apparently the numbers are a little funky because they're like designed to make it look like the numbers are so conservative, or not conservative. The numbers are so like, setting themselves up that it's like all of them look like they're going to be like way ahead of schedule, so it's going to make the government look like it's really efficient, because it's like, look, we set up all these goals to hit and we're going to hit them way before we said we were going to hit them. Aren't we amazing? That kind of thing. Okay, so now halfway through the stream we can maybe start thinking about answering some people's questions.
Well, we talked about vaccines for half an hour, and then we talked about Victoria 3 for another half hour, and these are important subjects that the people need to know about.
Yeah, I have a feeling that talking about things like vaccines and a new Paradox game feels like they're high on the things that the streaming audience would be interested in anyway. Listen, you're going to be listening to the Monday Discourse. You know what you're coming in for. You know what you're going to get.
Yeah, this is part of the course.
Yeah. Someone just said, how did you know the ancient alien guy's real name on top of your head? Well, why did I know the name of Giorgio Tsoukalos so easily? The Greekest name in history. It has something to do with the secret project I've been talking about, which you'll find out probably in a few weeks. So,
ooh,
but ancient aliens might have something to do with it. Okay, so the first question we got here is from Pierre Bondieu. Good God. Get it? Because his name is Bondieu? That's Peter Goodgod.
Of course.
Okay. Okay, this is a ESL question, so how internet technology can change the democratic system if it is used for the people? So my guess is the question here is, how could internet technology change the democratic system if it's used for the people, which I imagine is like used democratically or properly? So the thing to talk about with that is, doesn't like, I don't know, one of those weird countries like Estonia or something do something like this already?
Yeah, Estonia has a bunch of like online voting, like online registration thing, and it's working okay. The thing to know about that though is like even the Estonian system is like outdated at this point by like 5, 6 years, and is like under apparently like constant cyber attack,
Fun.
like just continuously forever, just always from all sorts of people.
I can't believe that you would
Um,
make something with any sort of hacking vulnerability when you are literally a country next to Russia.
well, um, but apparently it's working okay. But like there are some severe issues with the problem. I I don't think that electronic voting or online voting, which is even worse, um, should ever happen. I think it's so bad.
How do the Swiss do their direct democracy? Do they actually just have to go to the polls like every other week, or like?
I think the Swiss might have some sort of like mixed system where they can do a little bit of both. I think with some votes they have to do physically. I think some votes they don't have to. I think,
Okay.
but I'm not super sure.
So do you know? Yeah, Swiss people have to vote a lot, but yeah, that's the thing is like, voting is the Pirate Party does all of their internal voting using blockchain voting. That would not be the worst idea, because that is a way, like blockchain technology would be a way to sort of keep the voting system at least secure. Even if you'd have to have an anonymized number for everybody who voted, but like you would have, because it's like on the blockchain, you would be able to like tell if somebody was trying to tamper with the results of an election. And that might be interesting. It's good because blockchain is one of those solutions that's been looking for a problem for ages. And this is like one of those times that it's a technology you might be able to consider using.
Isn't it also like massively energy intensive?
Yeah, I mean that's more cryptocurrencies. So cryptocurrencies do something called mining, which is where they do very complicated mathematical equations, typically by something that computers are really bad at, which is reverse factoring of numbers, which is like finding all the numbers that divide into or add up to or multiply into a number or something like that. It's a long time with cryptography. It's like the hardest thing for computers to do, and that's why all of our cryptography is based on it. But if you can solve these really, really hard math problems and then show a receipt that you did them, you get money. That's how you get a Bitcoin. But
Yeah.
but blockchain is just an idea that what would happen is if I were to say it's a technology that cryptocurrencies use to say how much money everybody has. So you got like your wallet that's like, I'm wallet number 69 and I have 420 Bitcoins. And it doesn't know who you are. You have to have the cryptographic access to wallet 69 to spend or accumulate more stuff for that wallet. But the idea is that you can't just say, okay, then I guess I just have 420 million Bitcoins. What are you going to do about it? And then what happens is that every time somebody spends or gets more of these coins, a signal goes out to everybody at the system, and everybody has their own copy of all of the wallets and how much everybody has. So it's sort of like everybody. It'd be like if I'm trying to explain this properly because it's kind of wonky, but basically. The idea would be is that everybody would have a digital collection of every single person and who they voted for, and it's all anonymized. So that if somebody tried to hack it, you wouldn't be able to, because like if you hacked one and it was like grossly out of sync with everybody else's, you would know that there was something funky going on there. So it's meant to be tamper-proof.
But isn't that enforced by mining?
It's not. I don't think it's enforced by mining. I have to think about the crypto stuff again. But if I remember correctly, the technology of mining and the technology of blockchain are like two different technologies that come together to make cryptocurrency. But you can have blockchain without the mining aspect, and there's a lot of groups that are trying to find different ways to do blockchain without having the mining aspect to it.
All right.
Like there's a lot of like there's Like, I'm trying to think about some alternatives to it. But, like, the idea is just to have the public ledger that is distributed amongst everybody in the system, so that you couldn't just tamper, like, you couldn't tamper with any one part because it's all distributed. There is, like, something to that, but then we're wading into parts of computer science that I'm not privy to. But there's, yeah, to quote a friend of mine, the inventor of blockchain never intended to be used for cryptocurrency. Yeah. It's a whole thing with it's just keeping a, it's basically the idea of just keeping a public ledger of who has or who did what. I guess that's the easiest way to describe it.
Yeah. That makes sense. Apparently, China has cracked down a bit on cryptocurrency.
Oh yeah, this has been a really good news week. The Chinese government, first of all, a Chinese coal power plant.
Yeah, a coal. I think it was a coal mine / plant, like one of those, like where they build the plant right on top of the mine.
It shut down
after like on the refinery part.
Yeah, it shut down for 3 hours. And it caused 35% of Bitcoin mining operations to just shut down. And when the Chinese government saw that, they realized that an absolute fuck ton of their energy that they're producing, because they're trying to transform into a green economy, weirdly enough, but they realized that a huge percentage of their energy is being used for doing fake math for fake money. So they basically put out a thing saying that they're going to start cracking down on cryptocurrency, and they warn people against buying them. And it caused instantly the entire crypto market just fucking tanked. Another one of the greatest pieces of news of the week. And it was also right on the heels of Elon Musk trying to get people to buy Dogecoin on Saturday Night Live, which also led to the crypto market completely collapsing. So it's been absolutely beautiful to just watch stupid fake space money just completely go away.
Alas.
Yeah.
I do know shit about blockchain. Don't call me out here. I bought and sold crypto. Don't fuck with me here. I just like don't know all of the details. Sue me for having the Socratic method on this little stream.
Yeah, the only things
also, it is bad.
Yeah, the only thing I do know, like, the only stuff I do know about blockchain comes from the fact that when I was in grad school, because I had one of the strangest PhD supervisors ever, had me read an entire book on cryptography as part of my history comps, so my history exams. So it's like, okay. I had to read an entire history of cryptography and the computer science of cryptographic work to do stuff, because, I don't know, it was a weird system. But in the end of the day, digital voting has a lot of security holes in it right now, and with quantum computing coming around the bend, it's going to be even more hard to make it secure. So yeah, paper ballots are kind of the only solution we have for now. That's the main.
I mean, it's the only thing that's like it's the only thing that makes sense. Mm-hmm. That is like safe.
Huh.
Tom, I know that Tom Scott made 1 or 2 videos about electronic voting, which is also a very good in discussion about like just electronic voting and like online infrastructures generally. And I do believe that he does talk about like the blockchain method as well.
Yeah, and like Tom Scott's always a good. I don't know any one person on YouTube who takes their work more seriously than Tom Scott does. So he's good.
He's extraordinarily good.
Mm-hmm. I was trying to like look quickly at the blockchain page on Wikipedia to see if I could like describe any part of it, and then like instantly it went into like hashing and timestamps, and I'm like, oh no, okay, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. There are some interesting stuff about blockchain, though. Blockchain does have some potential use for organizing things without centralized institutions like states or governments and stuff. So there is some potential to it if you don't use it as a money source. All right.
If you don't use it as a real currency.
Yeah, if you don't use it as a currency, but as a way to ensure that data stays safe or is untampered, basically. Okay. Next question we got here is, how do we explain to atheists that the Israel-Palestine conflict is not religion bad and that ending religion won't stop it?
Because it's more about like land displacement than anything else. Like imagine if 700,000 people just had to move out of Florida tomorrow and weren't allowed to come back, and had been now other people were living on their lands.
Yeah,
and now they all have to live in Georgia, and they want to come back to Florida, and won't let them. And in the cause of that, in that minor conflict, people die, escalating the conflict.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there are a lot of there is an attempt to try and say that this is a religious conflict, but that is mostly a misdirection campaign. First of all, there's this, because it's trying to say that this is like this ancient battle between Muslims and Jews, which is like, okay, if you do that, it's not that. Palestinians aren't all Muslims, first of all, but also there are Muslim Christians and they're not Muslim Christians. There are Palestinian Christians and Palestinian Jews and Arab Jews and Arab Christians, and the Middle East is not a monolith. But also, it has this sort of racial racist system that happens in Israel doesn't just extend to Palestinians. There is, if you talk about the experiences of Ethiopian Jews and their experiences going to Israel, they also can have quite a few stories to tell you. Or Arabic-speaking Jews, or any other. It is more every metric you look at, it's saying it's more of a thing about race and settler colonialism than it is religion. The other thing to mention too is that it's sort of like how people will say that the issue, and this is how it was described to me as a kid, and it's in some ways it's you're getting the basics right, but it's also so wrong. About how, if you want to compare it, if you want to help out your friend, you could compare it to other types of conflict that are also billed as religious struggles, but are not actually religious struggles. Good ones to think of are the 30 Years' War, which was billed as a religious war, but had a lot more going on than just Protestants and Catholics. It was more of a German civil war in a lot of ways.
A German civil war where Sweden just decided to come in and take as much as they could while it was going on.
Getting while the getting's good.
We have so much freaking war loot from that war, by the way. I live in a town with one of those Royal Archive buildings, and we have so much German shit that we're never gonna get back.
Yeah, it's fine. What's it called? Germans did enough looting. What's it called? The second. Okay. They will get their stuff if they take the stolen Jewish stuff out of the Swiss banks and return them to the families that they had. They can have all the They can have all the 30 Years' War stuff back they want.
Exactly.
The other one too is how people, when I was a kid, would say to me that North Ireland is a religious thing, when everybody knows that the fight between North Ireland and Ireland and the UK over North Ireland isn't because they have doctrinal differences about Catholicism versus Protestantism, but because religions are more. If anything, it really makes my case that I've been making a lot on these streams, that religion is more than just a set of beliefs that you dogmatically follow, and if you can be talked out of them, then it completely gets solved. Religion is an identity. It's about ethnicity and race and all sorts of, and culture and all sorts of stuff, just really baked together that you can't really separate out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it was an amazing answer. Especially the North Ireland example, I think it's like will really hit for a lot of people. Even like you would have to contextualize that one as well. But once you can do that, I think it's easier to sort of map that onto.
And Gad did point out that in kind of these war zone type situations, you do create, because one of the things that kind of comes out of conflict zones is you do create factions of religious fundamentalism. And the settler colonization of Palestine by Israel has resulted in an exacerbation of religious fundamentalists on both sides of the conflict. One with a little bit of help from America. Both of them with a little bit of help from America, because Hamas is sort of was sort of a right, like kind of like a right wing religious fundamentalist group that was given a little bit of spice from America in order to outset the more socialist PLO. But that's a different story. Yeah. So it's the whole thing. Okay. Have you? Okay, the next question has to do with the show Invincible. Have you watched this?
I have not. I don't know what that is.
It's an Amazon original show. It's an animated superhero show. I've only seen one episode, and they're saying that one of the characters looks like you.
Like me?
Shrinking Ray. Let me. I'll find a picture for you. Apparently, this superhero. Oh my goodness! It's pretty spot on. Look at this. I'm gonna send it to you right now.
I'm hella curious now, if even you agree.
So that's a superhero,
God.
Shrinking Ray from the series, and you know what? Not bad.
No, I get it.
I see it. I'm gonna put it on the stream for people, so you can see here. This is Shrinking Ray. This character does look. It even has the glasses.
I see it. It seems to be tall as well.
Yeah.
From other pictures that I'm watching. Look at that. I'm gonna sue them for copyright.
Yeah, someone's like, it's literally Mia. There you go. Cosplay ideas right there.
And it's like a green outfit too, and I do fucking like green. Cosplay, definitely a cosplay idea. I need to do fucking cosplay. I like 2 years ago I decided to do cosplay, and then the COVID hit, and then I can't do shit. I can't even experiment.
Yeah, I wanted to do one cosplay in my entire life, and then the thing that I wanted to do stopped being relevant, and two, the costume I wanted to do would have been prohibitively expensive, which I've learned a lot about is a thing with this with cosplay as a thing. But I wanted to do. Have you heard of a small indie video game by the name of Overwatch?
A small video game. I've heard of the independent video game series known as Overwatch. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to do a Roadhog costume for some sort of event.
That would have been great. I feel like I could have joined you as Junkrat.
That would have been ballin'.
That would have been incredible.
I also would like. Oh man, this has to exist because there's fan art everywhere. Femme Junkrat.
It does exist, and I have seen it. Just be very careful about the wording you use when you look it up.
Okay.
Like, extraordinarily careful. Like, when it comes to Overwatch fan art, there like, I don't know what it is with the internet, but there is so much like just porn of Overwatch.
You have to search for the not horny Overwatch fan art is the thing.
Safe search on. That might not help.
Oh man. So now that we know that you're a superhero, now I'm gonna because I watched the first episode of it yesterday, so I haven't seen this character yet, but I'm gonna watch it eventually. Hopefully she doesn't suck somehow. This is a character that we don't know about.
Yeah, I hope so too. I've heard a lot of stuff about this show, but
It stars.
I still haven't seen it.
if I remember, the star is like what's his name, Steve Yoon or something like that. Stephen Yoon, yeah, who was from what's his name? It's Glenn from freaking The Walking Dead.
Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I know J.K. Simmons is in as well because he says something in there that's become like a TikTok noise.
Oh yeah, J.K. Simmons is he's all, like, what's it called? You don't worry, you'll hear him right away. You know exactly who he is.
Mark Hamill is in here too, and holy shit, there's a lot of people in the show. Zachary Quinto is in the show.
Damn.
Jason Matsukas is in the show as well. Holy shit. And yeah, I'm gonna have to check this out. This seems pretty cool.
Yeah, the first episode's pretty cool, and like it sets up like it's gonna be one type of show, and then the last scene, it's like, oh, this is a very different type of show. Okay.
It's one of those shows.
Yeah. Which is weird because it's like the second show where it's like, what if superheroes, but it's fucked up. And it's a second like Amazon original show that's had that premise.
I'm done with fucking superheroes at this point. Can we have another type of media franchise?
Yeah, you can have Tribes of Europa, a show that I also tried and just could not watch.
Oh, I tried watching that too. I didn't like it.
It's so bad. It's so like, especially. I don't know if you probably watched. Did you watch it in German or did you watch it in Swedish or English or what?
I watched it in German. Yeah.
Because I got it so it's dubbed in English, the English dub, and so it's like, you know, I'm sure you're much more used to watching like dubbed movies, but it's just like so the acting is so weird on some of those characters in that show. But I love that Tribes.
We don't actually watch like a lot of dub stuff here in Sweden. That's why a lot of like Swedes are good at English because we don't dub. Like at all. So we're just used to subtitles on everything.
So yeah, the episode. So Tribes of Europa. The second that I realized a bit, that I was like, wait a minute, this is whatever the European Union's version of the CIA. You're the one who made this show, isn't it? It's basically about why Euroscepticism is bad, like, yes. And why the European Union was like the one thing keeping the continent together. And it's like, okay,
isn't this like holding the entire world together or something?
Basically. Yeah, basically, like it seems like they're hinting that in the history, the European Union fell apart, and that basically led to the apocalypse. And it's like, okay.
Sure.
And there's a cube.
All because of Boris Johnson.
All right, so next thing...
You know, I don't like your skepticism either, but at the same time, I feel it's a bit heavy-handed.
Like, I don't like Euroscepticism, and I think the European Union has done slightly more good than bad. Very slightly more good than bad. But also the people who are like there's something so brutally annoying about the people who are like really into the European Union. Like, it's like, this is the most important thing that's ever been done. And because it's European, so like, this is the most important thing that's ever been done in history.
Yeah. People who will non-ironically identify themselves as Europeans, and that's it. Like that, like their main cultural identity is European. It's like, are we Americans now? Is this what we're doing? We're just doing like the other white place?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
I actually, someone's just talking about, they're talking a little bit about dubs and stuff like that. I actually watch all of my TV shows with subtitles, even shows that are in English, because it's easier for ADHD people to follow along if you're absorbing the dialogue in two different ways. So, but yeah, but when you do live action shows and they're dubbed, it's a experience.
Yeah, I've occasionally heard some dubbed stuff, and it's not great. I actually hear more things dubbed into English than I hear dubbed into Swedish. We don't really do dubbing into Swedish. It's more like when I watch like French shows and they have like an English dub on that.
The worst is when movies are made in Quebec. In France, they put subtitles on them.
Rough.
That's rough, buddy. That's rough.
Rough.
That's how that, like, there's nothing that's more of like an active, like, you've just been rejected by your own like mother culture than the fact that they're like, they refuse to recognize the language you're speaking as French.
They want so bad to have more people speaking French, and they're still rejecting. It's just
They have this whole
things.
they have this whole nation of people who speak French, but because it's not Académie Française like proper, they're just like, nah, no thanks. To be fair, Joual is like very much its own dialect at this point, but and then again, like, they must deal with this shit with Belgians and Swiss people.
Yeah, but everyone hates the Belgians anyway.
Well, I mean, this is
And
true.
Swiss are rich, and they're fine with it.
I haven't heard any Swiss people speaking French. I don't know how many there are, but because every time I think of Switzerland, I think German speaking. But
I think it's definitely more German speaking than it is French speaking. But don't they have like their own fucking like weird dialect?
yeah, but like I did have a French teacher who was from Belgium, and Belgium is a wild, like, the way that she spoke French was just absolutely wild. I was like, those aren't,
Yeah.
you can't do that. No, you can't just say octant. It's supposed to be 420. And you can't just say neufant. It's 42010.
The Belgians, as always, the Belgians are up to their own shit.
If you don't
They have no respect for anyone else and do not care.
Listen, if 99 isn't pronounced 42010-9, then I don't know what you're doing. You obviously don't know how to speak. Rawmonger just said, just away from Sherbrooke. Hey, Rawmonger, I lived in Sherbrooke for 3 years. I lived in Sherbrooke from 2010 till 2013. I went to Bishop's, and I did one summer program at UTS. The place where I did, what's it called? The place where I did the thing with the Belgian teacher was at UTS. I did the J'explore program. Can confirm Belgians have no respect.
And deserve no respect.
Oh boy. Yeah, I did my history degree at Bishop's. If you're a Bishop student, congratulations. That's a school that only has like 2,000 students. So it's a very rare chance that I meet another person who's from my tiny ass university. Turns out Belgians are not subject to the authority of the Académie Française. Good for them.
That
Yeah,
is fair.
fair.
The only thing I hate more than Belgium is the Académie Française. Like, they are... Their weird view on language will always confuse me.
I like, though, that the Académie Française has a completely different take on how to approach language than the German version of the same thing. When I was in university, there was a lot of European exchange students, and it was around the time that they changed a rule about German where they got rid of like this aesthetic choice where if you are compounding a word that ends with two F's and you start a word that starts with F, that you used to only be able to do two F's, but then the Académie Française for German, I don't know what it's called, but they were like, no, you can do three F's in a row now. So the word for like ship captain, which was Schifffahrt, is now has three F's in the middle of it, and it's like and all my friends were complaining about how it's like the most anti-aesthetic thing they've ever seen.
Well, the Germans are also like removing like old outdated letters and shit too, right?
They're giving me esse or whatever, right?
Yeah, like all that stuff, which is very confusing to me because, like, I can read old German as like it's part of my history education, right? Because that's the only thing I said, like German from like 1850 to like 1910, roughly, like that sort of German, and it's full of these old letters that I understand. I don't understand modern German because they're just like, no, it's just an F now. This is an S. It's like two S's instead of a sh thing.
Yep.
I have nothing. I don't understand. I am confused.
Yeah. And then there's just English, which is just like, we don't have rules. Like we pretend
You want to learn?
we say to every ESL student, there are rules. This language has grammar. But no, it's not.
No.
English is a language where we just have lots of words, and that we're like, it's all vocabulary, no grammar. There's just no, like, there is no proper way to do it. English is a fake language. It's just a bunch of words that people somehow understand. We just pantomime words at each other and somehow convey meaning. It's weird.
It's incredible. Swedish has similar things. There are some words in Swedish that just have no rules.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, English. Like, we teach, like, because English has become such a prominent language, and then we like teach people it early on, and then it's just like, okay, now you have to spend the next 50 years learning all of the places where the rules that we just taught you don't apply.
Yeah, where they're just fake.
Which, even I hate it. So maybe the French were almost onto something where they make choices where words make less sense because it looks more aesthetic. And they have things that make no sense just for like, oh, it sounds nicer if you do this, so we're going to do that. But yeah, no new words. That's why, what's it called? Your computer is called your ordinateur or your organizer or something kind of thing. It's fun.
I have no idea.
French is a beautiful language and nothing weird happens in it whatsoever. You know that it's a good language when most people can't actually write in the language that is their native language, and that you have to carry around not only a dictionary, but a second book on the 19 verb tenses you've invented so that you can conjugate all of your verbs properly.
Yeah.
It's a great language system you got there.
Europe really needs to get its shit together. Say what you want about China, but China has at least like taken all of the fucking various dialects over the last like 2,000 years and been like, no, here's a system. Get on with it.
You got Chinese and spicy Chinese. Those are the two languages you get.
All you need. You can use variants of all of that, but it's all part of these massive languages. God, I need to go back to study Chinese. I haven't used the fucking OWL app in years.
It's true. I like how the OWL sends you increasingly threatening emails if you don't appease him and feed him with attention. And I was going to hold out until they got Arabic, and then they got Arabic, and then I stopped doing it because then I found out Arabic is hard.
Arabic is so hard. I also tried to do a bit of Arabic, and it's just like,
it's like,
what?
Here's A, here's B, here's A and B together, and it looks like a completely different thing. And you're like, here's what A looks like. Here's A at the beginning of a sentence, and at the end of or at the beginning and end of a word, and in the middle. They all look different. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay.
If you add a third letter, it looks completely different once again. Good luck.
Mm-hmm.
My God.
Yeah. I gotta wonder what like the first Qurans that were printed with a printing press look like. I'd be very curious about what print like typography and Arabic look like.
That's a really interesting like historical curiosity that you just proposed.
Yeah, it's got to be somewhere.
To see that.
I'd be very curious. You can go find it.
I'm gonna do a quick.
I want to find a Gutenberg Quran.
Yeah, right. First ever printed Quran. Venetian printers. Exports to the Ottoman Empire. Right? Can we see a picture? Ooh, okay, I'm gonna send you a picture of how this looks.
Okay.
It looks very it looks very like professional. Like it looks way more like readable than like other books of like the Bible, for example. Which were just complete messes of writing. Sorry. send you this
All right. Let's see.
on the old Discord.
Okay. Okay, I can kind of see. I can see some of the letters like this. Like, I know. Okay, I remember. Like this is. I'm not even gonna pretend. I remember learning that letter, and now I remember that my brain doesn't remember it anymore. There's an Aleph. I know that one because it's the one that's just a straight line. That's a good one to remember. I know the letter A. I know my A's. That's pretty cool. Yeah, and that was made with like a printing press.
Yeah, apparently.
Interesting. I gotta check that out. I'd be interested like what those what the blocks looked like and everything. Okay.
Oh yeah.
This is me being. This is way too. This is the part of doing history that makes everybody be like, "Oh my god, please stop."
Oh my god, stop talking about printing presses.
We don't need to know what the blocks look like. Okay, would the world be a better place if every country was a 70s or 80s style Western European and Scandinavian social democracy with welfare states?
Yeah, that's hard. I mean, like, I'm biased, and I think that like a lot of places would probably improve by having that, but I also think that like a lot of places would probably not fit under that type of system. Like you can have a sort of like well provided for the people system in all sort of cultures and regions, obviously, but you can't just take a very like European like style bureaucracy and structure and just implant it all over the world because people aren't gonna like it.
Yeah.
It has to conform with the style of governance and the style of just like political cooperation that exists in the area, and then you can just like attach on things like free healthcare, free education, good housing, whatever. Because if you just do like a cookie cutter thing, it's just gonna collapse. Like if you did that to America, like now, America would fall apart within like within 4 years. America would go into civil war. 100%.
Yeah, it'd be tough. There's also like other issues. Like I used to say this to my students, and they used to be like, I don't know how they felt about it because they were afraid of their grades. They wouldn't say too much to fight me on it. But I used to say things like, under like a global capitalist economy, there are places where like, because capitalism is so antithetical to democracy, like. There are certain places where our global economy could not handle democracy existing as a global capitalist country. Like, for example, if Saudi Arabia had a democratic revolution and the king was deposed and they put in a republican system with a president and everything, first of all, every major Western country would pour every single military asset they had into putting it down. But second, because what would happen is the global oil prices staying stable is like one of the most important things for maintaining our global economy. And if like oil speculative prices, if like every time Saudi Arabia had an election, would just turn into an absolute like chaos. And with that would absolutely set the economy. The other one too is if China had democracy overnight tomorrow, because it provides such a massive industrial base. That like, if China ever legalized unions, and like they had like mass unionization drives and stuff like that, that would cause a huge disruption in the global supply chain that would basically destabilize the entire global economy. And and then I would follow that by saying like, this is sort of like why I don't like capitalism. I don't like living in a world where life getting better for people in these countries would be apocalyptic for the world. But here we are.
What a wonderful system we live in.
Yeah. The next question is, what will happen when the inevitable crypto bubble bursts? I mean, we kind of seen it this week, and the point is we laugh at them. We find it funny. and all of
But
the
it happens like occasionally, right? Because like it happened before, like the Bitcoin reached, what was it, 20,000, and then crashed back down, and now it's like, then it peaked at 50,000 and crashed back down. Like the crypto economy, the only reason why it's still why it's operating and exists is because it crashes reliably. Um, because people use that to day trade and to make money and
yeah.
to just do complete bullshit finance bullshit. That's why you see like every couple of months you see this like huge like mass marketing campaigns about cryptocurrencies, because they're meant to trick people, normal people, to buy cryptocurrencies to drive up the price. But the thing is, before any of those marketing campaigns have begun, everyone has already bought all of their cryptocurrency. Like people who have the money, they've already bought up their Bitcoin and Ethereum and Dogecoin. Not Dogecoin. Dogecoin's weird, but like the other ones. Then they buy these massive amounts of advertising, trick normal people into doing it. Price goes up, they sell, and then they stop the marketing campaign. It crashes. They do this over and over again for a few times.
Yeah, cryptocurrency is what we like to call.
It's called a pump and dump scheme, and it is illegal, but it is unenforced. So who cares?
Yeah, I made a video about this on Tristan Won't Shut Up. Cryptocurrency is essentially a Ponzi scheme in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And so when it bursts, what happens is a small amount of people walk away with shit tons of other people's money, and a bunch of dude bros who listen to Joe Rogan go broke.
Yeah. The vast majority of people who buy cryptocurrency lose money. Like, it doesn't matter how smart you think you are. It doesn't matter how like what you think that you're doing. If you buy crypto to day trade or whatever, you are going to lose money. This is a statistical fact of life.
With the one exception, the only cryptocurrency that is good is the Real Madrid fan token, which is the official cryptocurrency of Real Madrid, the football team. And it's not the only football team to have a fan cryptocurrency.
What? Why are people making fan cryptocurrencies? This doesn't make any sense. I've legitimately considered making me a Mulder coin, just to make like a quick buck, and it would just be like a fake token. Get like, people who do have way too much time on their hands, because like a lot of times people will create a cryptocurrency to get to sell off the initial like coins or whatever, for like cents. You can buy like you sell off like 100,000 Mia Mulder coins for $1. Even that. But the thing is, like a lot of like artificial intelligence networks that people set up, or people who do this as a job, they will buy vast amounts of any new cryptocurrency in case one of them explodes, as happened kind of with Dogecoin the other day, because people are weird and will buy Dogecoin even though Dogecoin is not like a real cryptocurrency.
Yeah, the best way to make money is to get people to buy things for non-economic reasons, and buying Dogecoin because it's a funny meme or something is the way that they do that. I planned.
It's all speculation. It's all speculation, and it doesn't work.
It is the purest commodity. It is. Yeah. The other thing, not only it's a purest commodity in the sense that it has absolutely no benefit for anything. It is no material object whatsoever. It's no service. It's nothing. And at the same time, it destroys the environment. It is the purest refinement of capitalism into its truest form ever made. I was, if it wasn't for the environmental concerns and probably the fact that I just was like burnt out on like how much work it would be, I'm making a video on cryptocurrencies for August, and I was going to, as part of it, make Tulip Coin as a way to make a joke about. I'm probably still going to make a fake commercial for Tulip Coin in my video, because
making a real cryptocurrency is probably a lot more work than it's worth.
Just keep in mind that we did cryptocurrencies before. We just did it with tulip bulbs.
Well, we did it with Tulip Futures.
Yeah, tulip futures. Sorry.
Mm.
Goddamn,
And
it's so silly.
hmm
Um,
like
yeah,
just as like the tulip disaster, I don't think it's going to crash the economy because the tulip disaster didn't either. But as you say, it's going to leave with some people being very wealthy and the vast majority of people being shit out of the luck.
yeah. Joe Rogan's Patreon is going to take quite a hit.
Oh my God, Joe Rogan.
Podcast man, bad.
Yes.
I like that now he's telling men to not get their vaccines. That's fun.
That's great.
I love
Well,
that.
if you're healthy and young, you don't need it.
I love
'Cause
that.
I know how vaccines work.
This is the most. This is or that also that if he stops speaking out, that white men will all be silenced. And I'm just like, wow. I'm really worried about the right to speak for the most popular podcaster on earth.
Yeah. He's truly having his freedom of speech suppressed by being not even more the most popular.
Oh boy. Okay. Oh boy. Oh, I just saw the word gays. Here we go. Gays Talk 2021, part 20. This is how you know we're getting into the Christos questions. Does a piece of media made for a specific audience, for a specific group, with a specific gaze, only have messages for that audience? Are these messages meant to be specific or more abstract to be received by other audiences?
Just because something is intended for one audience doesn't mean that it can't be interpreted and adapted for any type of audience. That is the beauty of art, that it is more in the viewer's interpretation of art rather than the creator's intention of it. I would say that probably one of the biggest example of this would be The Matrix, which is today more accepted as trans allegory than anything else, but has earlier been seen more as like a comment on sexism, or been just a comment on like identity generally. So interconnected spheres, different sort of targets, like themes, but depending on your analysis, you can get anything out of it.
It's kind of hard.
Ironically, this is something that's like I think like a right wing conservative YouTuber React channel or whatever actually put best, because he saw the scene in The Matrix where Neo says to Trinity like, "Oh, I thought you were a dude," and she goes like, "Most dudes do," which is like today seen as like a bit of a comment on like contribution to this trans allegory. But he says that like this was understood at the time to be a sexist thing, and it's like, yes, you are also correct. Good job.
I don't know if you guys heard about this, but you can be a trans woman and experience both transphobia and sexism. You can get both of those at once.
Like, yeah. But I'm also saying that like even that notwithstanding, like even if you were to completely separate the experiences of like, trans identity and sexism, it still holds up. Like it still works. And but as you say, like there obviously there is an overlap.
Yeah, I'd also.
But even if that overlap didn't exist, it would still work.
Yeah, I'd also add to that, like, it's hard to look at The Matrix and not see at least some sort of, like, LGBTQ plus allegory of some kind. It's very much about, like, wow, this world seems to not fit for me. And then someone's like, hey, do you want to join our cool culture where you learn about all of the things that you don't understand about the world and literally fall in love and, like, all that kind of stuff? Like, I don't know. It's got... There's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Okay. And
I think that's my question for that.
Yeah. I would probably say to mention that when like we're kind of muddying the term gays here, like there's an idea like target audience is one thing. That is an explicit design for making this media for one sort of demographic. But I would mention that when talking about like the male gaze and such in media, is more about. I'm so glad that Abby made this video recently. About ideology. It's about the things that you don't talk about. It's the things that you don't see. The things that are assumed to just be so. And the male gaze, when talked about in media studies, is about how, without even thinking about it, without even the writers possibly even intending to do so, we replicate an assumed straight male point of view. And that's specifically what like gaze talk is supposed to be about. But making content for a target audience that is not yourself is perfectly doable, and lots of writers do it. But those are two different things. One being intentional, and the other sort of being a cultural hegemon, like a sign of cultural hegemony, I guess would be the way to put it.
Yeah.
Like a good way to show like the male gaze, like that comes straight to mind, was about the Hawkeye Initiative. So the Hawkeye Initiative was this idea where comic book artists literally could not tell if their art depicting female characters was sexist or not. So what they would, or was like, showing like an inherent male gaze aspect to it. So they were like, all right, redraw the exact same cover, but replace the female character with Hawkeye. Yeah. And if the pose looks ridiculous, then you know that, you've made something weird. And like, that's like an example, like that's just one example of like the male gaze in comic books as an example. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That's a good clarification. Yeah, because you are also right. Like, we are sort of mudding the term a little bit.
Because, when we get into... Because target audience is its own thing. And the fact that nothing is made for a lot of different demographics for target audience, because it's assumed that either they don't want money, or they don't have money, or that people will be mad. They'll cause controversy by appealing to those groups of people, is the reason why so much media sucks. Like the fact... Like, the reason why fan fiction is so full of queer narratives is because there's no queer narratives for them. There's like gay romance fiction is a niche subgenre. There's no like $100 million gay rom-com. I mean, there might be now. I don't know, but like as an example, like the fact that I can't think of one off the top of my head shows that, like, this is demographic. Like that's an example of a target audience that's being unserved because they're more worried about getting controversy by making something for an audience that's not just like the people who complain the most, the ones who look like me. The Karens and the Kevins out there.
Is Kevin the male equivalent of a Karen?
Feels like it to me.
Yeah,
I did see something that said that if we're when Gen X is too old to be Karens, we're gonna have to find out what's gonna replace the term Karen. And so they're looking at like what are the most popular millennial names for the millennial Karen, and apparently it's going to be, and I wanted to bring this up. It's going to be apparently Jessica.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I've seen the TikToks and the Twitter memes about people just. Like millennials just being complete assholes to Gen Zers about like how they're a failed generation and how their generation is just like, oh, we took ourselves up, we worked our hard. It's just like we're doing the same shit all over again.
Yeah, it's dumb. And then there's like there's chuggy talk. I don't stop letting them do this. The only reason it works with boomers is because boomers and millennials grew up on different sides of an economic, like, of neoliberalism. They grew up on different sides of the neoliberalism.
Yeah.
And so it should be everybody who was born in the time where you still could have opportunities, and the people who are born after the time when there were no longer opportunities. But instead they're trying to make it like generational things because they'll try to make everything about anything other than class. They will look for everything. We just read an article. Kelly and I were reading an article, that a big New York Times article about how developed countries are starting to have negative population growth and how we're going to have this population shrink, this aging population. And it spent a lot of the time blaming women for not having, like, basically it was like, what are the reasons why the population could be declining? Well, it definitely has to do with women entering the workforce, and women are choosing not to have babies. And it's just like, they mention not being able to afford it in literally the last paragraph of the entire article.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, maybe.
It seems like you're burying the headline a little bit.
And also, like, the stuff about that came up in it was just like, like, maybe we should have a discussion about whether people are so underpaid, like the fact that childcare isn't considered labor and isn't paid as such. Like, if people really value children, pay people to raise children. Like, treat childcare work as work. And then we can have a discussion like, maybe you don't need to both parents to both be going out and working at a job to make money if we could get a situation where we're more equality. But maybe we shouldn't assume that that's going to be women who don't take the career opportunities. Like, I don't know. It's just like, it's so, I can't believe, I mean, like, it's like, I can't believe the New York Times had a bad take. It's like, okay, sure, it's the New York Times now. That's like, having a good take is more of a surprise. Is population declining even a bad thing? There is, the downside of it is that we're going to end up in a situation where there's going to be way more people taking pensions than putting money into pensions. And so you're going to have a situation where an old population will basically just drain all of the like the stuff, money set aside, because like a lot of our pension organizations are designed so that we have a wider base of people paying into pension programs, and then the older people are taking from the pension programs. And if that gets reversed, then you have a lot of issues.
Like, who is going to basically take care of them?
Yeah. So that's, and then also, labor shortages also can be an issue, especially if you're not willing to pay people more for their labor, like, as we saw in the last, 2 weeks of Discourse.
I'm also just thinking about, the idea of pensions, because have you met anyone our age who is, actually thinking that they'll have a pension?
No.
Because everyone's just like, pensions? Not sure about that one.
It's based on the assumption that there will always be more young people than old people, which is very soon not going to be a thing, because it's not a thing our society's gone through before, really. So,
well, Japan is thankfully going through it a bit quicker than we are. So we have a vision of the future. But then again, also Japan also has well operating high speed rail. So maybe their current scenario is actually the best possible scenario to have.
Mm-hmm. I will definitely incentivize a lot more automation of the workforce, and I mean, I and sustaining things. But it does also put a fucking stake in the heart of anybody who says that overpopulation is even close to being a problem in our society, in our world.
Yeah.
It did show some other interesting things about the future of the future of this century, demographics wise. That is going to be. I'm interested to see what kind of stuff happens. The idea that they said that by 2100 China's going to have a population of 700 million people is oh my goodness, that's very small. But also the sort of under-acknowledged thing that Nigeria is going through a massive population boom, and that West Africa is going to be this really hopping economic center in the coming decades, because it's just it's going through a lot of financialization, industrialization, and it's really it's economically growing a lot, and Nigeria is turning into the center of it. So
Nigeria is not only is having a population boom, but it has had it for a couple of years now. If you want to look at Isn't it something that like South Africa and Nigeria is like half of all Africa's population, including Egypt, which is like huge also.
I did
It's
not
it's
hear that.
something it's something incredible like that. Like Nigeria, the Nigerian population is popping.
Yeah, which also will show itself in other ways. Like I don't know if you follow the music scene, especially like the hip hop scene, but the music scene in general, like Nigerian music is starting to become more popular these days, and yeah, expect to see more cool West African culture. And oh man, I hope that that Nigerian company that just makes shit tons of action movies starts becoming more of a mainstream thing. Fucking amazing stuff.
I'd
Just
love to
like
see that.
yeah, there's this one director who puts out like they produce like something like 6 or 7 movies a year, and they're all like super low quality, but they're like over the top action movies, and they are fucking amazing.
Yeah. And like, they cut a lot of corners like in the production, but they're all great.
Yeah,
Like they're all fun.
yeah.
All right.
They aren't like us who forgot to have fun with movies. They forgot that
Yeah,
movies were
exactly.
supposed to be fun and fun to watch. All right, so it's past 2 o'clock, so we should probably well tell everybody what you are up to and where they can find all of your sweet, sweet content, and then we will say our goodbyes. We'll go check out what Emily's up to.
Yeah, I'm Mia Mulder. You can check out my content at miamulder.com. It'll take you straight to my YouTube channel. And you can watch my videos. They're good. It's good shit. You can also check out tweets on Potato Politics on Twitter. Yeah, those are the begins.
Yep. Alrighty, let's go say hello to MX Emily, and I'll be back tomorrow night. Check out the Clips channel to see fun clips, and I'll take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you again soon.